Hi everyone, welcome to TechTube. Today I'm going to be doing a network card upgrade on an HP Pavilion 14. Model number is AB166us. The network card that comes with this computer is really bad. It's a single channel, single radio card. It only gets the 2.4 gig radio signal. So we're going to be taking that out and upgrading it, and I just wanted to give you an idea of the difference here. So I'm going to do a speed test. I'm going to show you the results, and then after I get done upgrading, I'll come back and I'll show you the results afterwards. So let's go ahead and run this speed test. I always do the UCLA. It just seems to be one of the better ones. So we'll go ahead and we'll run this test, and you will see that it's dismal. I'm running 200 megabits per second internet here. So on the landline, this thing will run up in the 200s. It really flies. But on 2.4 gig, it's a nightmare on the wireless, especially with the card that's in this computer. Yeah, as you can see, absolutely horrendous. I've got an HP Envy that I upgraded the wireless card in it as well to a dual channel. It gets the 5 gig channel, and I'm getting around 90 with it on wireless. So just to kind of show you a different, and that's actually a 1x1 card that I put in the other one. So this one with the 2x2 card, 2x2 meaning two radios, 2 input radios, 2 output radios. It should be much better, get a much better signal. Okay, one other thing I wanted to do before I install the new network card is I want to come into the device manager and uninstall the drivers that are presently for the card that's in there. So just double tap on that and go to drivers, and I'm just going to uninstall this driver, and you can go ahead and to have it delete the driver software and everything, because this is a Broadcom network card. I'm putting an Intel card in here, so it's going to be completely different drivers, different software, everything. So we'll go ahead and just delete everything from there. Okay, and that's that. I'm going to shut this thing down and flip it over, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Not a whole lot here complexity wise as far as getting this thing taken apart. It's fairly straightforward. There are a couple of hidden screws that you need to know about. Other than that, pretty simple. Let me just point out to you what screws you have here. You've got a screw here. There are no screws under the feet like on the 15-inch Envy. There are no screws under these feet. You have a screw here, screw here. There's 1, 2, 3. You have 4 screws right back along here. Screws here, 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 and here. This is your optical disc screw. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 screws to remove. And the first one I always remove, just to get it out of the way, is the optical drive screw. Go ahead and pop that out. over. Okay, now we'll go ahead and pop our optical drive out. Pull that out, set it to the side. Okay. Like I said, there are no screws under the feet like on the Envy. So there's just one screw here, and then this cap, you can just grab it from the back and they pop right off. So pretty simple there. And I like to always leave the screws with the part if I can. That way nothing gets mixed up. And especially these computers, for the most part, have the same size screws everywhere. But there are computers out there that'll have different size screws back here. A lot of times these screws will be shorter. Sometimes this screw will be longer than the rest of these. These are pretty much all the same size. So it's not a huge deal on this, but I still like to do it. It's just habit, and it's a good habit to be in. Now under these covers here, there is a screw under each of these covers here as well. So when you get finished, you should have 17 screws. So I'm going to go ahead and take all these screws out, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I've got all these screws out. I did want to leave one of these just to show you how easy these are to take off. These are basically, or they are, just little covers. They're on there with a light adhesive. The best way to get them is to take a razor blade. That way you can get down in between the case and that little cover, and they just pry up just like that. So I just take this, set it to the side, and that's that. Take your screwdriver out. And I'm using a #1 Phillips head screwdriver for all of these. And that #1 works very well on most things, unless you get into small stuff like phones and all that good stuff. Then you have to use the smaller stuff. But a #1 Phillips is a very good general size for doing most things. So I have all the screws out. Now this comes apart a little different than the HP Envy as well. The HP Envy, you flip it over and the top part lifts off. This one, I turn it over and unclip the clips from around here. Then you have to flip it back over, and the bottom cover comes off to expose the hard drive and the memory and the network card and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do here is just go around here and unclip these clips. Okay, and one thing I always preach, always use plastic. Don't ever use metal, don't ever use a screwdriver, because you will destroy this plastic here. So my advice, I've done this a lot, and when I first got started, I tore a few things up, so I learned the hard way initially, is you always want to use plastic, because then you don't go tearing up the plastic. So we're going to come around here, just get under here, we're going to unclip all these clips here. You can hear them clipping up. All you have to do is get your pry tool under there and just kind of run down the edge, and it'll pop out. Down over here. Okay, so it seems to me we've got everything popped out. So we're going to flip her over and try to get this off. Close that down easy so that you don't clip the clips back in there. So we got her flipped over. And this back piece should just, you want to lift from the front part here, lift up, and then you actually want to push it back, because it it's on back here, it's clipped. So you basically want to lift up and push back. And as you can see, pop right off. So we just set that to the side, and voila, there's everything. I had to order this, the new network card from China, and it took about 14 days to get. So I got a little antsy. I was going to upgrade everything all at once, but I was a little excited and didn't feel like waiting. So I went ahead and upgraded the SSD and maxed out the memory. This computer holds 16 gigs of memory, so I've got 16 gigs of Crucial in there, which in my opinion it's the only memory that I buy. They offer a lifetime warranty, and anytime I ever do any type of computer repair or anything personally for myself, I always get Crucial. It's a very, very good product, very stable. So upgraded the SSD to an 850 EVO, which is a very good SSD. And here's your network card right here. So as you can see, it's pretty much a joke. I mean, it doesn't even take up the whole slot. As you can see, it only takes up even half of the slot. So, and there's only one antenna. And this is another thing I'm going to be doing with this upgrade. This is not just going to be a network card swap out. This is going to be a little bit more challenging because this only comes with one antenna. So I had to order new antennas for the new dual channel card. So I'm going to have to basically figure out which way I want to run these antennas, and I've got to run them up. I'm going to be flipping this over and taking the screen apart because we're going to run these up behind the new antennas up behind the screen, as they always are anyway. So basically I'm going to take this card out right now. Clip this antenna. We can go ahead and take this out. Take that antenna off of there. Set this to the side. Okay, let me show you the new card before I go away again here. I got an Intel 7265. This is pretty much a top of the line network card. It's dual channel, which means it's going to get the 2.4 gig and the 5 gig frequency, which the 5 gig frequency is just wider. You're going to get better speed out of your wireless on the 5 gig. It doesn't go as far. It doesn't have as much range as the 2.4, but the difference in the speeds on the wireless are very, very noticeable. It will increase your speed. Okay, and this is also a 2x2 card, and what that means, you'll see 1x1 and you'll see 2x2 cards. 1x1, basically 1x1 and 2x2 relate to how many radios there are on board on the card. 1x1 means there's one input radio, one output radio, which limits your capabilities quite a bit because you're only relying on one stream in, one stream out. With the 2x2, you have 2 streams in, 2 streams out. And using the MIMO, which is the multiple input, multiple output technology that these computers are capable of, they can actually combine the 2 radio streams. It just makes for better reliability and signal, stronger signal, and so you'll get a lot better performance out of the card. So that being said, I'm gonna go away again now and just make my plan of action as far as how I'm gonna run the antennas, and I will be back with you. Okay, gang, ready for the fun part. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and install the new card, which is really, really hard. That's it. So, just put your card in, press it down, grab your screw. And grab the right screwdriver. And pop your screw in there. Oh, can you see that? All right. Okay. Now, like I said before, this network card that was in here to begin with only had one antenna, and that was labeled number 1. So what I did with my two new antennas, I labeled them 1 and 2. I don't know if you can see that, but that way the one I labeled 1, I'm gonna run the same way this one was. Not that you necessarily absolutely have to, but I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. So now the fun part. I'm gonna flip it over. We're gonna take the screen bezel off, pull the screen back, and I'm just gonna, it's not gonna be long enough for me to, my plan initially was to just follow the route with this one the exact same, because there's already a route for that. There wasn't a second antenna on here, so there isn't a dedicated route for it, obviously. But I was just gonna pull it over and run it up right along the edge. These antennas aren't long enough, so I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm just going to have to run it kind of over and diagonally to the other side. So I'm going to have the number 1 antenna is going to go up and be on the, well, when it's flipped over, going to be on the left-hand side of the screen, and the number 2 antenna is going to be over here, up towards the top of the monitor on the right side. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the antennas, which is a good thing to do. So this is number 2. So I'm going to put this on the number 2. These are on your card. You'll have connection 1, connection 2. So like I said, once again, to keep it simple, doesn't matter which one of these antennas you hook to which, but always better just to follow at least some type of a pattern. And these are tiny, tiny, tiny. So they're not that easy to get plugged on here. Just bear with me. And this card, you might notice it's if you've seen some network cards, this card is thinner. This is called an NGW card. Just to show you, oh, sorry about that, hit my camera. Just to show you the difference. This is an HGW. Okay, this is the larger form factor. As you can see, uses a different slot, whole 9 yards. The these cards, the NGWs, they use an M2 slot, which is the newest slot, or it was actually known as the next generation form factor slot. So in this particular computer, I guess because of its size, they use this form factor. When you get to your bigger computer, like the NV15, that's got the bigger card, the HGW. And I don't know why this is being such a pain in the butt to plug on. but it should go right down on there. It shouldn't be giving me this much problem, but sometimes they do. Not everything's always easy. And you are doing this with me. I don't like doing things twice, so I know a lot of these videos, people make it look so easy because I think they go in and they go ahead and remove all the screws and get everything loose and do all that stuff before they shoot the video. So I don't know if it's just for time purposes or just to make themselves look better or what, but these things aren't always easy, especially when they're this small and this tedious. Okay, that one is on finally. Okay, I'm going to grab my other antenna. This is antenna number 1. I'm going to go ahead and hook it here. Hopefully this one won't be such a beast. Hey, nice. I just needed a little practice, I guess. Okay. So let's go ahead and route these wires. Just going right by the original the route of the original, the single antenna. Okay, so I've got those on. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and we're going to take the screen off and see what we got. Okay, you'll excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to just change the angle of the camera here so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, to take the screen off, we're first going to have to, well, we're not going to take the screen entirely off. We're not going to separate it from the base. I'm just going to remove the bezel and then just pull the screen out so that I can run the antennas. Hopefully it's not going to be that big of a deal. I've done a lot of screen replacements, so they're pretty much the same thing. Got my razor blade. There are 2 little tabs right here covering screws. We're going to have to remove those with our razor blade. I'm going to try to be as careful as I can not to scratch anything. There we go. Okay, I'll just set that to the side over here. There we go. Okay, we got a pretty decent lift off with both of those. We'll go ahead and remove these 2 screws. That screw there. Just set those up to the side. Okay. And if this is a normal bezel, it should just pop off. Real easy. You can hear the clips unclipping. This one might be a little different. Because this has got these are attached here to this bezel, so those are going to have to come up. And I may have to pry that up. We're going to find out right now if I have to pry that up. Again, I'm exerting a little force here, but you don't want to get too crazy as far as you know, trying to pull this thing out, because you definitely don't want to crack anything. And for some reason it's just not, might have to get a different pry tool. Not playing nice, but they don't always, so. So we're going to go along our upper edge here. And you want to be a little careful. You know, you don't have to be super gentle, because these are actually quite flexible. I've done computer screens in the past where these are hard plastic and they're easily cracked. But this one, oh, there we go. So you taking the top off allowed that to pop out on the bottom. Okay, there we go. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but nothing I haven't seen before. Oh, dust up under the edges there. Okay, set the bezel to the side. Okay, so you can see the original antenna here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and pull that completely out. And boy, I really wish this was about another 2 feet longer. That would be absolutely perfect, because I could just run it right along the bottom here and boom. But what I'm going to have to do, like I said, is run kind of up angled here and get this thing over here in this slot, because there is a slot for the second antenna. They had already put that there at the factory, just in case the computer was an upgrade, and I'm hoping I can actually even get that up there. This may be a little more challenging. So this antenna we're going to go ahead and take out. Okay, let's go ahead and remove these screws up here. We have 2 screws, you can see. We have 2 screws at the top. One screw unscrews the frame that goes around the screen. The other one unscrews the actual screen itself. So we're going to have to take those screws out in order to pull the screen forward a little bit, because these this antenna, you have little tabs right here, but it's too close to the screen just to pull this out. But we're going to have to run this wire behind the screen anyway, so those are going to have to come out regardless. So we'll go ahead and take those out. Once again, I'm still using the number 0 Phillips head, which, like I said, for general purposes is about the right size for everything. Okay, so our screen now should just come forward. There we go. Okay, so that should be just enough, forward enough just to get us out of there, but that still didn't move. There we go. So that pulled up just enough now for us to get this antenna wire out of here, which is all we needed. So let's see what's holding this antenna here. Okay, so we're just going to take this antenna off. There's a little bit of a tab down there, and that's stuck on the back part. So we're just going to pull that up, and there you go. That's the old antenna. Just going to remove that. Going to take the number 1 antenna, run it up the edge here, like it was. Okay. So I had the video running for so long, my screen timed out on me. So, okay, so this antenna is a little longer than the other one. So what I think I'm going to have to do here, I think I'm going to have to shave this little tab off right here. And modifying this kind of stuff isn't something I really enjoy doing. I don't care to mess with the casing and stuff, but if it's not going to affect anything really functional wise, or if it's going to keep the bezel from not, you know, going down like it should, which it shouldn't. This is basically right here, which is what I'm going to have to shave down. It's really just part of the mold. I mean, it may keep the bezel from pressing in a little bit. The bezel looks like it maybe just rests against it, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay, right here, I'm doing this on my own volition. Okay, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not telling you to try this. I'm doing it because I feel that it's what I need to do, but if you're not comfortable doing it, absolutely don't do it. Okay, I'm going to get something to hold that piece so it doesn't fall down in the back. Be right back. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I did a couple of things during my little break there. One thing I did was I took the antennas and I put some double-sided tape on the back of them so that they'll just adhere up here. And one other thing I figured out that I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and take this screen all the way off. Just set it to the side, the LED screen. That way it won't be in the way, and I won't have to keep, you know, tugging at it and pulling it back. So there's 2 screws down here at the bottom, just at the same spots as the ones that were at the top. There's also 2 tabs at the bottom. So we should remove those, and the screen should just, the LED should just come off. And we'll have to unplug it from the back, I'm quite sure. This is a non-touch screen, so there's no digitizer to fool with or anything like that. This is just the LED screen. Yeah, so you just take that off. Actually, I'm not even going to lay it to the side or anything. I'll just lay it right down, and it should be absolutely fine, just like that. Make sure you don't lean on it or anything like that. And actually, speaking of that, I'm going to put a towel between that and the keyboard. Just for further protection. I know these screens don't scratch too easily, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. I'm just going to set that there. And then just lay the screen right down on top of the towel, which you can't see right now because the screen's in view. Okay, so this is perfect because now this just opens us up to the whole thing. We don't have to worry about pulling the screen back and bending it up or doing anything like that. And this gives us a much better view of how we can run our wires and everything. So I am going to go ahead and continue what I was doing before I stop the video, and that is removing this little tab right here. Pretty easy stuff here. You just take the razor blade and you cut it off. Not that huge of a modification. See, that's it, and that can just go in the garbage. Now over here, oddly enough, we don't have the same thing over here. So over here we should be fine, because this right here, this area should be wide enough to go ahead and put that antenna into. Okay. So I still have this up over here on this side. Actually, this frame right here, the screw for this frame on this side didn't even have to come out. So we basically, it was the silver screw, one of the silver screws. I'm going to go ahead and put that back in, because we didn't even need to take it out on that side, because that's the frame for the hinges. I mean, that's what hinges the screen up and down. Now, the old LCD screens used to screw in to the actual screen on the sides of these hinges, but the new LED screens, they're so light and they're so thin that they just, you know, have the two screws at the top and the bottom, and that's it. So it's even easier, actually. So we're going to pull that back, and there's a little, which is nice, there's actually a little indentation down here, because if we were to run that like I was doing it to begin with, if you see here, this would pinch. It looks like it probably would maybe pinch a little bit, and I don't want that. And I don't want this in the way, so I'm just going to pull it. There's actually a little indentation down here, kind of a little slot, and that's actually perfect. That's going to work out really good. And you'll see, you know, as you're doing it, you'll see how you can route it, and you know, something might be easier for you. You might see something and go, well, I would have done that, which is fine. I'm just unscrewing this a little bit so that I can pull this back, so that I can get that in there. See, I wanted that to come through there like that. As you can see now, I loosened that, so it was kind of getting caught up a little bit, which I didn't want, so that's what I wanted right there. So I'm going to get, actually I'm going to be running the other antenna the same route, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with this one as well. And just get that down in there. Same spot as the other one. There we go. And this is not going to be that great, because I'm not going to be able to get that all the way over there like I want to. I might end up having to stick this just right here. So we're not actually, this antenna is not long enough, but I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. And we'll see. We'll make it work. That's number one. This goes on the right side, so I'm going to go ahead and just stick this and go with it. One other thing, right in here, hope you can see, right in here, you want to make sure there's enough play on your antenna wire. That way, when you're opening, you're closing the lid, it doesn't put a lot of strain on your antenna wire. So we definitely want to make sure of that as well. And this is going to have to come over and come through here like this. So there we go. That fits perfectly in there, actually. So I've got that in there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. That way we're good on that. Okay, so the number one antenna, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and stick it down. Then we'll be done with that one. Oh, this is not easy. Oh, there you go. There we go. This stuff's really thin, It's the same adhesive strips. It's 3M. Same adhesive strips I use in phone repair and stuff. It's very thin but very strong at the same time. So it should just... See, removing that tab, that fits absolutely perfect. That's a perfect fit right there. And it doesn't matter if it's angled a little bit. I'm just going to angle it down a little bit so that it'll go into there. Actually, I'm going to have it come above this. And you can press on it. Shouldn't damage it at all. Okay, so that's going to just be, and if there's excess, just pull it down because you can put it in the computer case. And if there's excess, that's kind of nice anyway because it'll even give you more room to open and close the lid, more length. There we go. So I'm just going to pull that out like that. And once I put that back on, that should be fine. Okay. Okay, now for the other antenna. This is not, I'm wondering if I could just stick this down here. Yeah, it's not going to be, and having these on the same side is not going to work anyway. Okay, I'm going to give this some thought for a moment. I'll be back. Okay, I've found the solution to my problem. Turns out that the original antenna that came with the computer, it was ran down along the side of the screen and then over to here. So it was actually longer than the antenna that I ordered. And the problem with this antenna not being long enough is that when I ran it over and came up through here, it only reached to about here. And you can't put it here because this aluminum shielding here, that shields the LED from any type of frequency interference or anything like that, or any type of interference from the outside. So it can't be stuck on here because of course it's going to block the antenna. It can't be stuck here because there's no room, and plus you don't want the antenna too close to this antenna because then you're going to quite possibly get interference there. I thought about putting it down here. However, you know, once again, it's right behind the electronics of the LED, which there's no aluminum there, which would be fine. But also, you're not going to get the optimal operation from it, basically the optimal reception, because it's down here and it's down low. So it turns out that the original antenna that was with the computer happened to be the perfect length to be able to do what I've done here, which is I just ran it just like I did the other antenna. As you can see, ran it right up through and it sticks up here. I hate combining matching things, but it was pretty much my only alternative here. If something happens that ends up not working for whatever reason, I'll probably come back in, take it apart again, and try it down here, the other antenna, just to see what I get. But I do want to get, if I'm going to go through all this, I do want to get the optimum reception and performance out of what I put in. So you can see how I've ran them. This of course wasn't long enough to run up the side like the original was, so it's just ran along here and up to here. So, and as long as you might be wondering about the wires, okay, will there be any kind of interference from these? There shouldn't be, as long as the antenna is up where it can receive signal. running it behind the screen shouldn't present a problem. But we'll find out, because I've replaced a lot of screens. I've replaced network interface cards before. This is the first time I've actually had to change out a set of antennas. So it's a learning process for me as well, as far as how this is going to perform. If this was long enough, the ones I ordered, if it was long enough to get up in there and go over like I wanted to, there would be no doubts in my mind whatsoever. But mix matching these antennas, which I'm not, an expert enough in radio frequencies to know whether mix matching them is going to make a difference. Are these two antennas somehow, made to work with each other? I don't know. So we're going to find out whether this works or not. So I'm going to go ahead and put her back together, and putting the screen on. As you can see, it just fit right on there. The wires going behind the screen didn't cause it to. It's not causing it to stick out or bulge or anything like that. So we should be good there. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back together in reverse order, and then we'll turn around and see how she works. Thanks for watching. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Got the computer all back together and everything. I'm back on speedtest.net, and it's time for the moment of truth. We'll see what we've accomplished here. As you can remember, before, the download speeds were, I believe, around 16 megabits a second. Absolutely dismal. So with the new card in here, we're going to see what we get. And there you have it. Looks like we have a successful upgrade. The results speak for themselves. I mean, it more than tripled the speed of the internet, and I could probably, if I go in the settings and play around a little bit, tweak it a little bit, I could probably end up getting closer to 80 or 85, possibly even up to 90 out of it. So there you go. I hope this helps if anybody wants to do that upgrade. As you can see, it's I mean, changing out the card is a pretty quick and easy thing. That's not a big deal, but when you have to get into replacing antennas and all that good stuff, it's not real straightforward in some cases. But I hope this helps, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.